Henry William Dalglish Cavill was born on May 5, 1983, in the Channel Islands on the small island of Jersey, a place known more for its quiet landscapes and coastal beauty than as the birthplace of a Hollywood star. He was the fourth of 5 boys in a close-knit family, raised by his mother Mary Ann, a secretary in a bank, and his father Colin, who worked as a stockbroker. Growing up in such a large family gave him resilience, competitive spirit, and camaraderie, qualities that would later shape both his career and his personality. Unlike many actors who had a clear dream of stardom from an early age, Henry's journey to the screen was far more gradual, influenced by his surroundings, school life, and the encounters that nudged him toward acting. From childhood, Cavill's life was infused with a strong sense of discipline. He attended St. Michael's Preparatory School and later went on to Stowe School in Buckinghamshire, England. He wasn't initially the star student or the most outgoing personality in the class. Instead, he grew up slightly shy and reserved, though those who knew him well noted his strong work ethic and natural charisma. He was particularly fond of history, especially ancient history and mythology, which sparked his imagination and sense of storytelling. At school, Cavill also had a passion for rugby, though it would later cause injuries that hindered his athletic pursuits. Rugby, however, gave him a physicality and endurance that would later prove invaluable when he stepped into roles demanding immense strength and stamina. During his school years, Cavill discovered drama and began performing in school plays. Acting became a refuge, an outlet that allowed him to step outside his shyness and explore different identities. Though he was teased occasionally by classmates, his dedication to acting grew, and he developed a deep appreciation for performance. This dedication eventually drew him toward the path of professional acting, though it wasn't until fate intervened that the course of his life began to shift. That pivotal moment came in 2000 when Cavill, then a teenager, had a chance encounter with Russell Crowe, who was filming Proof of Life near Stowe School. Henry, still a student, boldly approached the acclaimed actor and introduced himself, expressing his interest in acting. Crowe, impressed by the young man's initiative, gave him advice and even later sent him a package containing a signed photo and some guidance about the industry. This moment lit a spark in Cavill, reinforcing the belief that he could indeed pursue a career on screen. Years later, he would share this story widely, crediting Crowe with being one of the earliest inspirations in his journey. Shortly after, Cavill began auditioning for roles. His early acting career wasn't a straight road to success, it was marked by struggle, near misses, and persistence. In 2001, he landed his first film role in Laguna, an independent film that gave him his first taste of. After the initial success of his career with roles in projects like The Tudors and supporting appearances in films, Henry Cavill's path to global superstardom was shaped by both persistence and resilience. By the time he was chosen to play Superman in Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, Cavill had already faced multiple rejections for major roles, including James Bond and earlier Superman projects. But when he finally stepped into the cape, he became not just an actor portraying a comic book legend but a symbol of perseverance for fans who had followed his journey for years. Cavill's Superman was a complex interpretation, one that attempted to balance the godlike power of the character with the moral struggles of a man raised in a human world. Audiences worldwide noticed his physical transformation, the intense preparation he underwent, and the quiet humanity he brought to Clark Kent. Though critical reception of the DC films was mixed, Cavill's presence in the role created a loyal fanbase who saw him as the definitive Superman of his generation. Parallel to his time as Superman, Cavill began building his identity outside the DC universe. He appeared in The Man from UNCLE, displaying charm and wit in a role that showcased his versatility. He also embraced his love for fantasy and gaming publicly, something that would eventually shape his career decisions in unexpected ways. Cavill was known to be a passionate gamer, particularly dedicated to the Witcher video game series developed by CD Projekt Red, which itself was adapted from Andrzej Sapkowski's fantasy novels. Unlike many actors who adopt a role without prior knowledge of its origins, Cavill was already deeply invested in Geralt of Rivia long before the Netflix series was ever conceived. His understanding of the lore, the tone of the books, and the philosophy behind the character made him uniquely suited for the part. When Netflix announced the adaptation of The Witcher, Cavill was immediately vocal about his interest. Reports suggest he contacted his agents multiple times, requesting meetings and auditions, emphasizing his passion for the source material. Showrunner Lauren Schmidt-Hissrich admitted that while Cavill was among the earliest actors to express interest, she initially wanted to explore a wider pool before making a final decision. However, once Cavill auditioned, his embodiment of Geralt became undeniable. His gravelly voice, physicality, and nuanced grasp of the character's internal struggles convinced the production team that he was the right choice. Fans, especially those familiar with both the games and the novels, were intrigued but cautious. Casting fantasy characters often invites divided opinions, yet Cavill's dedication soon silenced doubts. Cavill threw himself fully into Geralt's portrayal. He not only trained extensively with swords and stunt teams but also insisted on performing the majority of his stunts himself. For him, embodying Geralt meant more than looking the. As The Witcher series moved into its second and third seasons, Henry Cavill's performance continued to define the heart of the show. Yet behind the scenes, shifts were occurring that would change the trajectory of his journey as Geralt of Rivia. Cavill had always been candid about his priorities, remaining true to the spirit of Andrzej Sapkowski's novels and giving audiences a Geralt who balanced the monster hunter's stoicism with the deep sense of humanity hidden beneath. For him, the role was not simply a contract, it was a mission to bring justice to a world he had cherished long before it became a Netflix phenomenon. But as creative decisions diverged more from the original texts, whispers of disagreements began to surface. These tensions grew more public when, in late 2022, Cavill announced he would be stepping down from the role after the third season. The news shocked fans around the world. Many could not imagine The Witcher without Cavill, whose performance had been so closely intertwined with the series' identity. His replacement by Liam Hemsworth was met with mixed reactions, with large parts of the fan community expressing disappointment and sadness. Social media erupted with campaigns urging Cavill to stay, while others voiced frustration toward the production for not aligning more with his vision of the source material. For Cavill, the departure was bittersweet. He expressed gratitude to fans and colleagues but emphasized that it was time for him to pass the torch. His dignity in handling the exit only strengthened the admiration of his supporters. The departure from The Witcher did not mark an end but rather a turning point. Around the same time, Cavill also navigated the complicated landscape of his Superman role. After years of uncertainty in the DC Extended Universe, Cavill briefly announced his return as Superman following a cameo in Black Adam. Fans celebrated this as a long-awaited revival, believing Cavill Superman would finally receive the full arc he deserved. Yet within weeks, new leadership at DC Studios shifted direction, announcing a reboot of the character that would no longer include Cavill. The sudden reversal stunned audiences and reignited debates about Hollywood's treatment of iconic roles and the actors who embody them. For Cavill, it meant saying goodbye to two of his most defining roles within the same period, a professional crossroads that could have been discouraging. Instead of retreating, Cavill embraced new opportunities. His passion for fantasy and gaming led him to partner with Amazon Studios to develop a live-action adaptation of Warhammer 40,000, a universe he had loved since childhood. Unlike with Superman or Geralt, this time Cavill was not only acting but also producing, giving him creative influence from the ground up. Fans celebrated this development, seeing it as the perfect alignment of Cavill's personal interests and professional ambitions. His excitement was palpable, and for many, it rep.